So parents must take heed now. They ought to know the children, especially some children can get easily stressed and full of anxiety at this time of the, run. So if they know the children well, they should have helped the children, in the last 6 months to get ready for this round. But now that we are in the middle of everything, they must be helping to get some treats available for the children. Heavy meals are out of the question because it will make you sleepy. Right? A good concoction in terms of Ayurvedic medicine is the almonds. It's about 8 almonds, right? It's 4 ilachi, 2 dates in a glass of milk. You leave it overnight. You leave it overnight in the fridge. Next morning, you can make like a smoothie, and that's a top drink for the memory, for your mental stamina. What you need now is, it's like a comrades marathon, but you need mental energy, not physical energy. So there's a difference here. So you can't have heavy meals. You just cut out the rices and the bulk food. Right, so I'll repeat that drink, which is good, very excellent. It's if you have walnuts to snack on. Walnuts, if you look at walnuts, it represents the brain in its convolutions. If you see walnuts, it's all those convolutions. It's a picture of the brain, but it's one of the major foods in Ayurvedic medicine for the brain itself. And it compensate for last minute, the last minute pump up energy. Like you take a runner and you give him raisins and glucose. Now it's time for you to give walnut, almonds, the almond drink. In between, the orange juice is a good drink. The orange juice mustn't be the ones that are tempered with processes and so on. You must get the fresh orange juice with the pips and things like that.
I actually have a question from educators and parents. Times are changing. Today, our grade 12 learners, after every paper, want to chill and de-stress, and they turn to cannabis-flavored drinks, cannabis-flavored, I can say maybe sweets, and not forgetting, they want to chill with the vape cigarette. This is currently the trend with, I'm not saying all, but with most
but
high school.
That's going to be disastrous because you have to understand the anatomy of the brain. And if you're having these cannabis drinks and the cannabis itself, some people will tamper the cannabis itself because of availability. Now you must understand if you open your hand like a like a receiver, and you make your other hand like a closed fist. That closed fist sort of fits into that open fist. That is the chemical response in the brain or the cannabis. It gives you this high, right? And this high is not going to last long. It's going to give you this euphoria kind of effect. And you're not going to be yourself. You're going to be messed up. So take heed. If you think you're a super genius and try one of these things at this stage, it's going to cause disaster because it'll destroy your sleep patterns.
So, times are such where we say times are changing. Well, the learner is also different from every year they are full of surprises. So parents out there need to watch, educators and even the learners who are listening right now, stay away from, stuff like vape cigarettes and cannabis beverages and cannabis foods, to de-stress, because a lot of people do use it for medicinal value, the oils and other stuff. But they cannot use it in that way there because they're just going to bugger themselves even furthermore. They're going to have a hangover.
One of the effects of the cannabis, products is it increases your appetite. So you're going to eat unusually a lot of food, and that lot of food is going to mess your gut because the attention now, instead of the brains having a lot of oxygen and blood, etc., it's going to be directed to the stomach area and the stomach area is going to fall. It's automatically going to digest this food, and it's the body's kind of reaction to food. So it's going to make you sleepy.
Okay.
Immediately you're going to sleep.
Sleepy.
So that's going to affect your whole program in this exam if you tamper with these things.
And sitting and studying, everyone has different styles of studying. Some of them like talking to themselves. Some of them are like highlighting every single book, textbook, notebook. Some people like summarizing. Sitting on that table or on that chair or on your bed can lead to, neck pains, back pains, body pains, because you forget those hours just go through, especially when you're burning the midnight oil. What advice do you have for our learners out there, when they are in one position for very long hours?
This is, you see, posture is equally important. If you want to study for an exam, you must, if you take back yourself, Matric was the worst examination in your life. Post-Matric, the universities is a walk in the park, and everybody gets stressed out. If the learner is a child and the parents are there, it is like the parents are writing the examination.
Exactly. Today's parents are... Exactly. I mean... When you think about it, today's time, parents are so stressed about the child writing the exams. And the learner of today goes for tuition, extra lessons, even top up with extra lessons around the exam times. I mean, all technology, gadgets, resources, everything at the fingertips to ensure that, you do quite well. But that can also be quite create anxiety and make you more stressed because, what do you turn to or what do you do, So that can also create stress and anxiety, on edge for the family, not only the learner.
Yeah, but the parent now must be very alert in picking up signs and symptoms of the stress factors. Right? So some of the factors are like, the child won't talk too much. He'll get into a depressive state. The anxiety will get the better of him. Now, these are the signs and symptoms, the physical signs and emotional signs of stresses. And the parent must become aware that if suddenly the learner or the child is not talking much, then you must know he's not handling the stress factor management. So you need that support from your parents, from siblings, etc., to give you the support. So it is like everybody writing their examination paper.
Yeah.
Right, so they must be careful of your eating habits, your sleeping habits, your drinking habits, your activities in this particular moment. That your spare time is accountable.
Yeah.
If your spare time is not accountable, then you are in a dangerous mode. They are now delving into these kind of cannabis things.
And that's the norm of today. I mean, going into exercise, going into being more mobile, because sometimes you tend to just, stay in one position for very long hours. What advice do you have for our learners out there when studying to keep physical or keep that circulation?
Right. The physical and little bit of fun activities in between is essential in this time of research is now showing that you have to break and, if you study for 2 hours, break for 30 minutes and get into some activity, physical activity that is now totally different from the mental activity that you are, involved in this period. So the physical activity is going to counteract the mental activity and take away the anxiety and the stress and bring sometimes laughter. The parents must bring their eats and laugh and smile. They mustn't be showing facial expressions of stress. So that's going to make the child more stressful. So they must be a bit light-hearted with the children in that period where there's break time. They must be equally accountable of the child in the sense that it is the first time they're writing the Matric in their lives, and it's a big examination. And so they must, like the World Cup, everybody was supporting the people, like they were buying drinks and buying eats and so on. This is like a cup marathon in the family. So the eats must be prepared, light snacks, not very safe, too much oil, cheese snacks. If the person is, you must consider your child now. If your child has some inflammatory problems, bronchitis, keep away the dairy. No dairy products, no cheese, no yogurts,
Exactly.
no cold milk, etc.
Right
Because
now, as you can see, we have here in KZN such cold, freezing cold weather with heavy downpour, and that's also bringing back the sniffles. And we have learners who don't. I'm reading messages from the screen. We have learners who refuse to go to the doctor or take any medication for the sniffles because they don't want to fall asleep. They want to stay awake and study. So what would you say? I know your famous drink, the turmeric, the haldi.
Well, the turmeric, in fact, you can cut a slice of lemon, put it in the boiling water, and a nice 2-3 spoons of honey, especially for the learners now. You see, this is a concoction for the learners. And if they're getting a bit of sniffles and so on, you put some cayenne pepper into that concoction. And cinnamon, and you can ensure that you'll breeze through that examination period without a physical ailment.
Besides,
because that will ensure
for our listeners out there, besides you being a certified Ayurvedic practitioner, you also were an educator in the early days. So you are the best person, when it comes to the grade 12 learner or just our learners in general, how to take care of themselves from a nutritional point and a diet point.
It's a pity, in the past we ran workshops for learners in grade 12, and you ran workshops as well.
I'm glad you remember.
I think in future we must run these workshops early in the year so that, parents and educators and learners have a full idea. And in fact, the educators who are selling the rubbish, in some talk shops must take heed that these are things that we mustn't promote because it is a quick fix.
Exactly.
You see, although Coke is a thing that will keep you alive, in terms of the night caps and so on, but it's not the best kind of situation. It's going to... You have a lot of options now. You can have the drink that I mentioned, and it's going to keep you fit for the right examination.
Mr. Francis, we're definitely going to get you back on in the days and the weeks to come during our special programs during 2023 for our Matric learners, what we do every single year. So thank you so much for imparting, some value tips and motivation. Thank you so much for linking up with us.
Yeah, thank you. And the parting shot, remember the brain is full, has 100 billion nerve cells. And the more often you look at any piece of note, you actually enlighten the brain and the frequency to that kind of version so that, it keeps your memory alive.
Thank you so much. Okay, you take care.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
God bless and all the best for the Matric learners in the 2023 examination.
Thank you so much. Listeners, that was our Ayurvedic practitioner who always comes on during school matters, especially during this part of the year. Wishing everyone well for the 2023 Matric exams. Yes, it's that time of the year. Can you believe it? 2023 Matric exams, the final exams is here, and this part of the year, School Matters hosts special programs. We've been doing it for many, many years, and that's the tradition. Well, we are getting our traditional guest back on as usual. We are linking up now with Brother Junaid Bayat from Accelerated Learning. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to you and the listeners.
Well, wa alaikum salam. It's so good to have you back. I know the weather, and you are always flying all over the province, imparting your knowledge, doing your workshops and your seminars. And this is I think, just off your fingertips. You just know what to tell our learners, what advice to give to them, and how to go about it. And I know the end result is always amazing. So study skills, what advice do you have for especially our grade 12 learners who are currently at the beginning of their examination?
Okay, so let's get started. Study skills, and today I've prepared what we call the factors of learning smarter, faster, and easier for exams. So factors is an acronym, and each letter stands for something. But before I get into the factors of learning, let's talk about, now that it's presented, and this is for everybody, the brain actually uses 5 major areas when you are learning and when you are taking an exam. These 5 areas are what I call the major areas of the learning brain for exams. So the first part is visual, about the visual mind and you seeing how you seeing it. The second area of the learning brain for exams is about attention. How good is your attention? What are you paying attention to? Third thing is about memory, right? And improving your memory and being able to remember more. Different subjects will require you to remember different things. So you need to have a better memory. And the fourth area of the learning brain is all about your problem solving. That, basically what your test and exam is all about, to test your thinking skills. And the fifth area of the learning brain that is used for exams is speed. How fast how fast you can answer questions, or how fast you can answer so many questions in a set timing. So that's the 5 major areas of the learning brain. You can just remember it as exams. Let's go into the factors of learning smarter, faster, and easier for exams. The F in factors stands for focus, and forget everything else. The A stands for active learning and an action plan. The C stands for create pictures, concentrate, and condition the mind. The T in factors stands for take notes and teach yourself, or teach it to somebody else. The O stands for oxygen and organize. R stands for revision and review system. And S stands for state and being in a good state. So let's get into the F. What does focus? What do I mean by focus? Everything else. Give an example, especially for the matriculants. Just for the next 6 to 8 weeks, you need to have a very clear mind, right? Your mind has a desk. Just like you have a physical desk, you have a mental desk. Now you need to clear that mental desk of all, the worries, the anxiety, the fears. How we do that is, whatever is worrying you about this exam, maybe you're thinking, I don't know what, I don't know the subject, I don't think I'm going to finish on time. You write down all these worries and fears on a paper. And then we take the paper, tear it up, and we can either throw it away, we can burn it. So what we've done is, we've now removed all these fears and these worries about exam from your mind, from the mental desk, and now we put it onto a piece of paper. You're going to literally feel as though, oh man, I just got to figure out all my problems. And what students tell me is that, whatever they write down, that they are afraid about in that exam, if they're not going to finish on time, or I don't know the essays, or I don't know the work, none of it gets shifted. So use this as a strategy to be focused. The second thing about focus is to manage the thoughts that you are having. There's a lot of students are experiencing negative thoughts. They always think this thought is so hard. Maybe I can do it. I don't know this. So what we need to do is we need to become more positive in our thinking and our self-talk. So you need to tell yourself, I got this, I can do it. And the last thing about focus is you want to focus on how you want to finish this exam. It's not about how you started, it's about how you want to finish. So you want to create a picture and you want to visualize and imagine, right, how you'd like to see yourself finishing at the end of the exam. Like example, you can picture January 2024, seeing all the results, the metric results are coming in. You see your results, it's exactly what you wanted. You can hear how everybody is, screaming, and you are screaming yourself. You're celebrating, you're getting all the congratulations. And you can also take that one step back, right? So you know the kind of picture you have of how you want to see the results. The second thing is you can also focus on this picture of leading every exam in the exam room, I'm cool, I'm calm, I'm confident. I know my work because everything I see, I know the answer because I prepared it. You want to create these kind of, pictures in the mind's eye, and you focus on that picture of how you want to finish. The second part of the practice is the aid, right? Which is what I said, being an active learner during the exam and have an action plan. So what does it mean to be an active learner? An active learner means I'm doing something with my learning, with what I'm learning. I could be asking questions, I could be creating an opinion, I could be focusing and visualizing what I'm learning. And one of the biggest traps most matriculants are falling in terms of active learning is when you're doing a past year paper, right? And a lot of matriculants are doing past year papers. So when you do a past year paper, you want to do it as though you are actually in an exam. Most students, what they do is, they do a past year paper, and on the desk, whilst you're doing the past year paper, the memo is on the top there, the textbook there, the study guides there, the notes are there. So you're writing that you're referring to the textbook, you're referring to the memo. That's passive learning. So an active learner will write that test or that past paper, that exam, as though they're actually in an exam. No looking into the study guide, no looking into the memo, and all of these things. So active learning means I got to now do something with what I'm learning, right? So that's the A in active learning. When it comes to C in the factors of learning, C stands for you want to concentrate and pay attention to the keywords, key ideas, and key concepts. And what we have to do is, those keywords, key ideas, and key concepts, we must visualize and imagine it. It leads to an increase of retention in memory by 80% when you think about, what it is that you learn. Because you have to create a picture. Now you're forcing the brain to think about what it is that you are learning. So now you're using your imagination and you're creating a picture. It's like a movie in your head, but it's of all the key words, the key ideas, and the key concepts. Okay. So that's the C. When it comes to the T, it's about time control, and teaching the work. Okay. Now, when it comes to exam time, one of the most important things is to have a week schedule over the next 4 to 5 weeks. So every week, you need to know every single day exactly what it is that you are doing. And each day, you need to be doing study sessions. So in terms of time, this is specifically for matriculants, right? Each day, you have to have a minimum of 5 study sessions. Each study session is 90 minutes. Okay? So you could start off at 5 a.m. and, then you go from 5 a.m. to half past 6. Then you can have a break. Then you could come back, say, right, from 8 o'clock to half past 9, second session. And then from 11 to half past 12, and like that. But basically, on a day you're not writing in test exam, you need to have 5 study sessions in a day. Each session is 90 minutes. And make sure also, in your time when you're doing for exams, you take out time for exercising, take out time for enough rest, right? You also need to sleep, right? You need to get good sleep because sleep has a direct impact on your results. And also, we need to take our time for spirituality, for prayer, to make dua, to read Quran, these kind of things. So you want to manage your time and be in control of your time. Students that are listening to, the only reason your parents and your teachers will be behind you all the time. If they want to remind you and keep telling you, hey, listen, it's exam time, you need to study. They'll only do that if you don't, you don't have a plan and you're not in control of your time. So if you're not in control of your time, others are going to control your time during this exam period, and they're going to keep reminding you. The other thing I said about is about trying to teach whatever it is you learn to somebody. And if you go, no, I don't want to teach anybody, I'm going to teach myself, that's fine. Teach yourself. How do you teach yourself? You could, if you're learning something, you could verbalize it, you now say it out loud in your own words, what it means to you. And that's a very good strategy for exams is when I am learning a concept, I am now able to say it out in you could record on the phone. As you are explaining it in your own words, you could record it. You could even look at your study guides or textbooks or the notes that you're using. You can read out loudly the definition, meanings of certain things, whatever it is that you are learning. You can record it in your own voice and then listen to it on repeat over and over and over again, even when you're sleeping. And just like when you listen to a machine or you listen to something over and over and over again all the time, it gets stuck in your head.
Exactly.
So you could do that with the notes.
Like a song.
The next one in the factors is O, which I said was oxygen and be organized. Now, in this time, you'll hear a lot of advice. A lot of people will be telling you, do a lot of deep breathing. So you want to get a lot of oxygen into the brain. Now, what a lot of people don't tell you is how to breathe, right? When you want to relax the mind, when you want to have, a calm and chilled out experience or state in the exam room, you need to have long exhales. So you want to exhale slowly and long exhale. That actually makes the brain relax and calm down. Okay? So you got to practice a lot of breathing to calm yourself down, especially in the exam room. And also, if you are experiencing what we call a blank out, a memory or a mental blank out, the first thing you want to do is you want to breathe. You want to calm yourself down and breathe to release that tension, to release that stress. Now, it's very important that we learn how to breathe during this exam period.
I think it applies to the parents too. And the educators.
Yeah, they need to calm down. Also, now that you mentioned it, Sumaya, parents, one big advice when it comes to your kids that are in Matric, a big mistake that a lot of you make is when you pick up your kids from school after exam paper, well, the first thing they do is when you jump into the car or when you get home, they ask you, how was the paper? And that child has just read that paper for 3 hours, brain is kind of like fried. And when you ask him, this is not something that they want to talk about right now. So what you need to do as parents is you need to decide with the kids beforehand in the day what time would be a good time to talk about the paper that you are writing or the paper of the day. And I always say, generally, do it for the supper table. Do it for the evening time.
Yeah.
Let's get back to it, right? On the factors, we covered the O, the breathing and oxygen. The R is about revision. Look, you've learned meticulous, you've already learned, you know the work, because you prepared for the trial. So now in the final, you want to do a lot of revision. How do I do revision? Very simple. You need to take note of the 5 things I'm going to tell you. This is what you do when you are revising. The first thing you do is extraction, meaning you extract the keywords, key ideas, and key concepts. So the first thing you do is extraction. Anything important. The second thing we do is visualization. Right? So extraction of the key words, key ideas, key concepts and meanings. The second thing now we do is visualization. We visualize it. And the third thing we do is what we just spoke about just now, is verbalizing. We say it out loudly. The fourth thing we do is we write it down. We summarize just key words, key ideas. Or you can even make a mind map. Okay? After summarizing it, the first thing that we need to do is to assess
Brother
and test ourselves.
Junaid Bayat, we are definitely going to continue this in the days and the weeks to come. You know? Yeah. So Jazakallah so much for linking up
Always
with
a pleasure.
us. Inshallah, maybe next week, Tuesday, the following week, during the whole period of the exams, we need you to motivate us, keep us uplifted.
I will do.
And, you know, you have this amount of positivity, which just listening to you now, I feel like I need to go and study or do something. Jazakallah so much for linking up with us.
Always a pleasure. Jazakallah for having me on.
Okay. Jazakallah. That was Brother Junaid Bayat from Accelerated Learning with his study tips. Monday, you feel like you also want to go back and study. Well, I'd like to thank our guests for taking the time to link up with us, you know, on this very cold, wet weather. Inshallah, during these weeks to come, we will be having them once again. I'd also like to thank my technician, Manli, for making the show possible. My email address is sumayakhan.alansar@outlook.com. I know that you have focus and ability. I know that you have patience and stability. Your personality has these wonderful virtues for your big exam. I wish luck to you. Good luck. Nothing is impossible. The world says it. Everything is possible. Positive mind, positive vibes, positive life. Assalamu alaikum.